Okay, so I had to take care of a important message there that I had come in the midst of all of this, and I had time to think how I wanted to play this out because I wanted to at that point bring this NPC into this to just stir the pot a little bit more, if you will. So, with all of this going on, there's now this mysterious passage in the stairway that's leading down underneath the basement of the tavern. Merrick has this arrow sticking out of his forearm, and he's just in pain at this point. It's at that point Rangrim catches the glimpse of a figure in a hooded cloak that turns quickly, and he catches the glimmer of what appears to be a bow or a crossbow or some kind of weapon like that, and hears him scurry down into the darkness beyond to what he can actually see. As Carnu moves towards to assess the situation, and he's putting his hand up to at that point shield his eyes from the light coming off the axe. They hear a familiar voice, but this time it has taken on a more sinister type of tone as it laughs, standing at the base of the stairs, and he goes, "They all fall for it. All of them do." He says, "When you walked in, I couldn't tell what that awful smelling drow you have with you and the would-be king of Ironfell, but now that this fell short, what had to do here in Longsaddle, I can only imagine you would be on a quest of no good. Regardless, many of the adventurers I have sent to their deaths down here, so please don't feel put out. But I will tell you this much. You will not leave the cellar alive. None do." As they turn their attention to see where the sound of the voice is coming from, they can see the silhouette of the tavern keep standing there. They notice he raises his arm, and they hear a click. And at that point, the box moves forward and covers the opening, and they hear a clunk, clunk. And it's at that point they hear a door open. Pow! As that door opens up to this area here. Oh, let me move that a little bit more into focus for you guys. How's that? There we go. That's a little bit better. This door is now open like that. This door opens, and they hear this door slam shut, and they can hear the sound of a key turning. Tunk, kunk, locking them in. A odor begins to permeate this area. The smell of decaying flesh, of rot, if you will. And to their horror, given the fact, you gotta remember, these are first level characters, it is at that point they see animated skeletal humanoid remains with little orbs of red magical energy emanating from the eye sockets of the skulls begin to pile into the room. put these guys here, here, and here. I have to number them. 1. I'm going to say this guy is 2. We're going to go with this guy is 3. 4. Make him 6. Make him 5. Alright, so, and of course I'm going to have to redo my initiatives here. Brand new encounter, brand new everything. Alright, so the skeletons, let's, and this is kind of, now, I didn't know how this was going to go, so I had already picked out some creatures out of the monster manual, and I went with the skeleton, and skeletons are basically skeletons. They got an AC at 13, they got 13 hit points, they move at a speed of 30, they do have a damage vulnerability, which is bludgeoning, and they're immune to poison, obviously, death. There's no flesh, there's no circulatory system. So, you know, that's kind of out the window. I think that's just a given. But they are obedient servants. Skeletons raised by spells are bound to the will of their creator. They follow orders to the letter, never questioning the task their masters give them, regardless of the consequences. This fits perfectly into this narrative, and I didn't know how this is going to go, but this is really cool. I love this. I haven't even made it to Red Larch yet, and yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving this so far. Okay, so let's get the initiative out of the way. Let's get that out of the way. We're going to start with Carnu. '21. Very nice. Rangrim. Whoa, 19. Plus his initiative. 22. Merrick. Now, there's a problem here. The fact that he's injured. He's got an arrow sticking out of his forearm. And that's going to cause a little bit of problems here. But, let's see, where is he? He's got a 9. And his initiative, 10. I'm gonna, that's fair. Considering the other two, I'm going to keep that. So he'll be running at a 12. Now, let me see. Ooh, the skeletons get a +2 to their initiative. And they're running at a 9. Okay, that's not... Odds are in my favor. I'm not going to complain. Hit points, 13s. Okay. Top of the batting order is going to be Rangrim. Now, here's the first thing I have to do. And I'm going to have to roll individually for all of them. Considering the fact that they are first level characters, and the first time they're seeing skeletons, there may be a, well, they may be frightened by this. And we have to find out if they're frightened or not. So, I'm going to set the difficulty class to that at a 16. So, let's hope that, so we'll go with Merrick first, and he just gets a +4. Nope, he is not fazed by it. He just kind of looks at it, and he's just like, ugh, frick. He's like, now this. And he goes, what else can go wrong? Carnu. So, I mean, he has a 16 right on the money. He's not phased by it, doesn't really flinch a whole lot. Rangrim, let's see how he does. Seven. Okay, he's frightened. Rangrim, he just cannot believe what he's seeing. He chokes up. He's going to, well, lose his turn this round. He is just in total, like, oh my god. He's you know, to him this is just evil sorcery and magic that he's seen, which it is. In fact, it is. But okay, so he's lost his turn this round, and I gotta roll and see if he's still frightened the next round or not. We're gonna move on to Carnu. Carnu still has his bow equipped, and I have 2 archer skeletons here as well. So I think the first thing he's gonna do is go 5, 10, and he's gonna aim at that sucker. And let's hope this plays out well. He gets a +4 to his roll. 15. Doesn't even need to add his bonuses. And hopefully I get a good roll here. Yes! 6 points of damage to number 1. So the arrow, and just chunks of bone fly off, but it's an animated skeletal corpse fueled by magic, so it really doesn't do a whole lot. Merrick at this point, so he's got an arrow in his forearm, so I'm going to think at this point him using a bow is going to be out. So he's going to have 2 options. He can either, I think he's just going to throw his hand axe. He's just going to throw his hand axe at the skeletal remains that stand in front of him. And gets a +3 to his roll. 15, doesn't even add his bonus to that. And he's going to do 1d6 +1 damage. Come on, come on. 6 points, I will take it. So number 2 takes 6 points as well. Alright, so now at this point, this skeleton will fire at Canoe. This skeleton will fire at, just as the way you see him here. Boom, boom, and then he will advance forward onto Merrick. Alright, this guy first. Let's see. He gets a +2 to that roll. 8, oh man, he hits too. That's horrible. Okay, 1d6 +2. Ouch. So the Drow Elf is going to take 4 points of damage. Him on him. Unfortunately, he's frightened, which means this guy gets advantage. That really sucks. Oh, he hits a 20. Wow. Oh, wow. And of course he does. He does 8 points of damage. Well, why wouldn't he? Which he is wounded at this point, and I get a feeling he's going to have to probably use his second wind ability here, as long as he's not frightened next turn. Okay. The skeleton moves up. this one begins to move through the door, advancing, and he's going to take a swing at him. And he gets a +4 to hit. That's horrible. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't have to look at my character sheet. His AC's a 14, and with his bonuses, it puts him at a 17. He's going to take 1d6 plus 2 points of damage. He's going to take 4 points of damage. Which is going to leave him in bad shape. Okay, so that's their turn. It's now top of the batting order. I want to see if he's still frightened or not. So, difficulty class 16. I really need him not to be frightened at this point. Cool. 20. He rolled a 20 right on the nose. The arrow hits him, and he snaps out of it. He looks down at the arrow where it hits him, grabs a hold of the arrow shaft, snaps it off, throws it to the floor, and looks up at these skeletal creatures, and his fear has changed from this, oh my god, these are animated Walking Dead, to rage. Dwarven rage. At that point, with his glowing axe drawn, he advances in, screaming, "Roar!" Alright, so he's going to get +6 to that roll. Oh, 20. That is awesome. Wow. The axe comes swinging down. He's like, "Roar!" Boom! As it connects with the skeletal remains, it just boom! At that point, disintegrates into a pile of dust and bone chunks to the floor, scattering across the basement floor. That guy is gone. Long gone. Now, as an extra action, I'm going to take my second wind, and I'm going to heal 1d10 plus my level, which would be 1. 4, I'll take it, hit points. Which is better than I was before. Okay. That was Rangrim's turn. Now it's Carnew's. Yeah, Carnew's just, he's got the bow already in hand. I'm just going to kind of keep going with what he's already got going on. Reason why I say that, or am I? I'm going to cast Witch Bolt, is what I'm going to do. Yeah, so that's going to be my Charisma ability modifier 3 plus my proficiency plus 2. And let's see if it hits its target. Oh no, you gotta be kidding me. I rolled a 1. I cannot believe that. Oh man. Okay. Oh, damn. Oh, time to break this out. Yeah. Let me get to the magic section. Spell Fumbles, page 66. Okay, let's see what happens here. 17. Okay, so it's nothing like bad, like hit point damage wise or anything like that. But the effect of that fumble is that the caster's only able to speak when interrupting somebody else already speaking. This effect lasts for 24 hours. So he's going to be unable to speak to them unless somebody's else speaking and he's going to be talking over the top of them. You know what? Hey, I will take that. And even though it sucks, I lost that turn. It's a fumble. My spell did not go off. That is kind of funny. Okay, alright. I will, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna keep that. Alright, that was Carnu. Now it's Merrick's turn. Merrick threw the hand axe at that skeleton that was up here. So at that point, he moved in and destroyed it. He's going to take a 5-foot step, retrieving his hand axe, and I'm going to aim it at this guy right here. Let's hope it goes well. So he's going to get +5 to that roll. Ooh, a 7. No. So his arm's all messed up. He's got the arrow sticking out of it. He picks it up and he goes to throw it at the last minute. He's like, ugh! And it flings off in a direction that haphazardly just completely misses the skeletal archer. That stinks. It's not helping me. It's now the encounter's turn. So with all that going on, this skeleton's still engaged with him. He's going to fire another arrow at him. This skeleton, at that point, comes through the doorway, swinging his sword at Merrick. The archer, its eyes in its eye sockets are fixed upon Rangrim, and at that point, these guys start to funnel towards the doorway as well. So let's get this show on the road. Okay, let's do this one first. He rolled a 3, and his short bow has a +4, which is not going to be enough to hit. It's a mess. Thank God. This one against Merrick. 19. Oh man, this is going to hurt. Oh, it's going to hurt. So there's no point in even adding the bonuses. He's hit him. He's going to take 1d6 +2 damage. He takes 5 points of damage. He only has 4 hit points. He is now -1. The sword comes down and just shink, and the sound of Merrick as he's thrown to his back and slides into this crate right here, just completely unconscious and bleeding out. Before Rangrim can react to what's going on, this skeleton right here flings an arrow at him. Hopefully it misses. A 20. Oh, God, man. Good thing is he only takes 3 points of damage. Rangrim screams out, "I need help over here," but before he can finish his sentence of yelling, "I need help over here," it's at that point, Carnu is like, He's going, great, go on, yes, go on. And there's a moment of confusion between these two because Carnu's like, he's trying to like, figure out what the hell happened there, and Rangram is just more or less like, what the is going on? But with that being said, it is time for Carnu. I'm going to try again to cast Witch Bolt on to this guy. And I've already read how that spell works. Yeah, this is going to be good. Oh, no fumbles this time. No fumbles this time. So... he's going to get a +5 to that. Wow. That stinks. So I rolled an 11. Trying to keep concentration on what I have going on. Unfortunately, my intended target was not hit. So, yeah, this is going to stink. I'm going to lose that spell for this encounter. It's gone. I've used my spell slots, tried it twice, and now at this point I'm going to have to figure out something else to do. Wow, man. Okay. Well, I think... oh, I went out of initiative order there. I was supposed to go with Rangram first, but I went with him first. I was kind of a little excited about the spell going off, but at this point it does not matter. He's going to... he screams and he just steps up, swinging at these creatures, just trying to hold them off at bay as much as he can. He's going to get a +6 to his roll. Yes, okay, he's rolled a 12. Bonus is added. He's hit, and he's going to do 1d12. 8, I'll take that. Total of 12 points of damage to number 5. Number 5, as well as the mighty battle axe comes in, and the light coming off of the sucker connects with the skeleton. It just, at that point, burst into dust and bone fragments to the floor. Alright. Now, oh man, yeah. So, Merrick is unconscious. Fortunately, he's going to take another hit point. Okay, it is the encounter's turn at this point. This one's going to step up here. This guy's continuing through the door. Boom, boom. Normal. I'm going to go with him first. He rolls an 8, even with his bonuses. He misses. This guy rolls a 1. He fumbled. Alright. It's time to go to the Cryptonomicon. Yes. Yes. Give me something good here. Please help me out. Melee slashing 25. A 10. Okay, well, hey, that works out. So, as he goes to swing at the dwarf here, the dwarf being pretty agile for a dwarf, he's got a pretty decent dexterity score. He's able to dodge his attack, and in doing that, the armor that pieces of armor, I should say, that this thing has worn, has the links rusted off, broken, falling to the floor, lowering its armor class at that point to a 0, which is going to make it very slim pickings for next turn. I got to remember that he's AC 0 at this point. Okay, this guy right here, the archer, he rolls a 6. Even with his bonuses, he does not hit. Man, thanks for small miracles. Okay, back over to the top of the batting order. It's going to be Rangrim. Of course, I'm going to go after him. I got advantage on this guy, and I'm going to take that advantage. Oh, roll 2 12s. Either one. Take the 12, and with my bonus of 5, yeah, I'm going to roll D1, D12. Got an 8 plus 4. He's just decimated. He's gone. Same as before, just dust cloud and bone fragments. Done. Okay. Now, with him, I think I have no other option. I don't think the bow is going to work that well. He's just going to draw a scimitar and go 5, 10, and just get right into the battle. I don't see this going any other way. Let's hope this goes well. So, Carnu, he's going to get a +4 bonus. Oh man, 1 point below. So close, but no cigar. So he runs in to battle, swinging his sword, but unfortunately, with the bright light coming off of this, his eyesight is hampered, and he misjudges his swing, missing this thing by inches. And unfortunately, Merrick is going to lose another hit point. Okay, encounter's turn. Same thing. This dude moves up. He's going to go first. Hopefully he misses. 14. Oh. Excuse me. Okay. So he has an AC of 15, but with his bonuses, it's going to be a +2. Yeah, he hits. That stinks. 2 + 2. We got 4 HP loss on the dwarf. My dwarf is in bad shape. He's got 1 HP left. And then we got to deal with this archer over here as well. He rolls a 5. He misses. This archer against him. Oh man, he rolls a 17. He hits. That stinks. But good thing is he only takes 3 points of damage, which isn't too bad. Puts him down to a 5. Alright. Yeah. Top of the batting order goes back to Rangrim. Rangrim is going to do what he does best. And he's going to get his bonus +6. Yes, 18. He hits. Come on, roll high. Oh, roll like a... Yes. Yes. Awesome. I love that ability of being able to reroll that. So 10 plus 14 points. This thing's decimated. It's funny, as they're walking out the door, he's just... He's done. Off the board. Okay. Carnu is going to swing at that sucker. Come on, you can do it this time. You can do it. +4. Oh, jeez. No. It's not a 1, but it's a 9. He's just, damn drow elf. Okay, and of course Merrick loses another hit point. He's just bleeding out. And fortunately, we're going to have to secure this area before we can do anything for him. Alright, top of the batting order goes back to Rangrim. Rangrim is going to step up, and he's finally going to deal with this archer. This archer has a day of reckoning. And +6, come on. 19, yeah, oh yeah. Ooh, rolled an 11 plus his bonuses. He is just, that's what you're going to call overkill. I mean, he's just... The sound of his bow splintering and bone fragments into a cloud. Done. Alright. Carnu, come on, buddy. You can do this. I know you have it in you. Finally, got a hit with the bonuses. Takes him up to a 16. And he is going to do 1d6 plus 2 damage. So he's going to do 4 points of damage to this thing. Unfortunately, it's not enough to kill it. It weakens it, but does not kill it. And it's going to take its turn against him now. Hopefully it misses. 16. No, don't think so. Wow. Why does this not surprise me? He rolls a 2. So he's going to take 4 more points of damage from that skeleton, which is going to put him in bad shape. He's going to be at 1 HP. Alright. Back top of the batting order. Rangrim's going to step in and just clean this mess right up. Oh. No, he's not. He misses too. There's something special about this skeleton. Come on. Come on, Carnu can do it. Come on. No. He's 1 point below. So the skeleton, let's see who he's going to attack, because both of these guys only have 1 HP. I'm going to say odds on a 1d6, it's him. Evens, it's him. It's odds. Of course, it's going to be the drow. He's going to attack him. I hope he misses. Please miss. He rolls a 6. Oh, man. Yes, he misses. It's now back. Oh, and he loses a hit point. Merrick is just over there slowly bleeding out. Once he hits -11, he's dead. Alright. Come on, Rangrim, you can do this. You can do this. Come on, man. 11 plus my 6, 17. He hits. This skeleton has a day of reckoning. Oh, low roll. Can roll that again. Yes, take that. Oh yeah. What's left of this thing, the axe comes down and just cleaves right through this thing. Boom! Big. And they are done. Okay, it's at that point, Rangrim is like, Merrick, and of course, Carnu is, look, door, open, skeletons, undead, and he's like, what the, you know. They have this little ordeal going on here, and so it's at that point. I'm getting ready to run out of space on this card. I've used it all up, and I'm gonna have to upload this to my computer. At this point, Rangrim, he's gonna come over here, and I want to see if using his wisdom, if he can figure out how to stop the bleeding, at least to help his friend. He's not a healer, so the DC on this is going to be 16 or better. He rolls a 14, 15, 16, right on. He is able to control his bleeding, give him somewhat of first aid. It's at that point that they drag themselves into this room and try to barricade themselves and to protect themselves from any further harm. And I think that's where this is going to end off. Alright, until next time. Hey there, YouTube! Welcome back to Artichoke Dip. My name is Rob, solo tabletop gamer. Oh, here it is. Man, I'll tell you what, I got the wind back in my sails again. So getting back into gaming, it's been a little while, but I'll tell you what, after the last couple of game sessions, I am ribbed up. Things are going great. I am really I'm loving this. I am just absolutely loving this. And, you know, using characters that are out of my comfort zone, I guess you would say. And overall, just how things are going is really intriguing me. And it's had me all excited today at work. And I couldn't wait to get home and jump back into this to the continuing story. I hope you guys feel the same. And before I go any further, if you liked the video, click that like button so I know the content I'm making you guys are enjoying. And if you have not subscribed, you're new, you just stumbled across the channel, or maybe you want to learn more about solo RPG, or heck, if you just enjoy watching, that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. Click that subscribe button, followed by the bell icon, and you will not miss my next video when it is uploaded, because you will get a notification. So, let's pick up where the story left off. As Rangrim has somewhat attempted to attend to Merrick's wounds and try to control the bleeding, the light of emanating off his axe, that spell, the duration is just about up. It's beginning to fade out, and it's slowly fading, and darkness is encompassing him. Adding to that frustration, Karnu is not making sense. Everything he's talking about are just garbled sentences together. Just, it's adding more frustration for Rangrim. Rangrim, at that point, screams at him, "Help me!" And they grab Merrick and begin to make their way through the darkness. As they enter into this area, they are just absolutely winded. They have one hit point each left. They are wounded. They're exhausted. And there's just this mounting huge bubble of frustration among these two because they can't communicate right now. Just to give you a quick recap as to what's going on, his spell had a fumble, and one of the things out of this book right here that I was using underneath the spells, well, I didn't take any damage from it, but for the next 24 hours, he's going to have a hard time speaking to him, because anytime he speaks up over him, and he's speaking in garble, which is making him frustrated, because the words that he wants to speak, they will not do that. It's just other words coming out of his mouth, adding more to the frustration. So, it's at that point, tired and winded, Rangrim drops his pack off his back. He reaches in, grabs one of his torches, and is fumbling around to find his flint and steel. He boom, 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 this flint and steel, and after a few bright sparks, at last a flame emits from the end of the torch, and the room begins to glow. Now, there's a couple of factors I'm going to have to figure out. A, what is in this room? Because we're locked in here, and we know that there's a secret entrance underneath this area right here, if we remember. And then we have the two mystery doors over here. So, let's get in to that and see what's into the room. So, going back to the Scarlet Heroes, and I have to give a shout out to Lance Addington. He really gave me a bit of advice on a book out there that I wasn't aware of. I started out on Mythic, and I found this, and I kind of fell in love with this because the Oracle and everything is so simple, and it moves quick for my playstyle, which I like. But he told me about a book called Mythic Variations 2, which is all for NPCs. So I had, I had ordered that off of RPG Drive-Thru, which only cost me like $13 to have it shipped to me. So I'm looking forward to that showing up so I can put more life into the NPCs and add more into the story. But enough talking. So the first thing I think I'm gonna have to do is take a big swig of this coffee. And I guess I should ask the question, are there any threats in this room? That's, my main concern right now. I want to know if there's threats in this room. Immediate danger. And I rolled a 15. Yes, and of course, there is another off of the E. It says yes and then but. So I got to roll on the but table. 1. A twist to the relationship between people in the situation. A twist. I think I know how I want to ask another question. Is this particular thing, could it be magical? Let me roll again and see. I don't know, but I rolled a 6. No, it's not magical, but the fact that a hero thinks they know is actually wrong. Okay. So, I'm going to have to dig a little deeper into this. And let me see what tables I want to use for this. There's something in the room. It is not magical, but it is a threat to him. So let's go to underground encounters here in my table guide, and let's see what we could possibly find. Hopefully it's not more death. 16. Two. Okay, so let me so according to my table, and it has indicated blue caps. And when I hear that word blue caps, it makes me think of like monticoids, the large bipedal fungus creatures found in the Underdark is what it's making me think of. And I want to see if I can find that here in the monster manual. If not, I am just going to re-roll on that table again and see if there's something that better fits the scenario in which I'm in. Okay, I don't see anything there, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to re-roll that table again. I'm kind of not, blue caps doesn't leave me with a whole lot, so, I mean, it's making me think of something you would find in the Underdark, and it doesn't really fit in with this particular environment. Okay, let's roll in percentage dice again. And that makes much more sense. So, there's two things we're going to have to deal with. As the torchlight illuminates, and Rangrim, I'm going to roll a perception check for Rangrim to see if he actually notices this. And he will have a +2 to his roll. So let's see. And he's going to be... I'm also going to give him stone cutting, because he is below ground. He's in the subterranean area. So that'll be... actually bump him up to a 6. And I'm going to set the difficulty class... I'm going to say 12 for the difficulty class. He gets a 19. So as he's scanning, he's looking around, his dwarven eyes see something that stick out, and he can tell by looking over in this area, there's what appears to be like a very poorly molded... It's a tapestry that's hanging on the wall, but it's moldy, it's nasty and filthy, but his keen eyes pick up on something, and what that is he notices it's moving slightly, and it appears to be a hole in that wall behind it. It's also, with his dwarven eyes, as he's scanning, he can also see this door has been activated by a mechanical system, and he can see some crude mechanical parts that have been fashioned about the wall with timbers to operate the door. it's at that point I'm going to have to make a decision here. So I can try to disable this and lock the door to give us some security and rest and hope that nothing comes through this hole in the wall. Or we can just throw caution to the wind, go through the hole in the wall, hoping that there's nothing hideous on the other side, and throw caution to the wind with 1 hit point and have a total party kill. I think at this point, man, the better judgment is telling me to basically take care of that door, barricade ourselves in, and get some rest. I think that's what I'm going to do. As Carnu is basically caring for Merrick, he's trying to hold his wounds closed and try to control the bleeding as much as he can. Rangrim walks across the room to where he noticed these crudely fashioned mechanical system, if you will. And he looks at it and he figures probably the best way to deactivate this would be to take his axe and chop out the timber. At least it couldn't be controlled by the switch that the tavern keeper was using here, which is right here. So I'm going to set this DC level at, I'm going to say a 15. I'm going to set it at a 15 for the fact that he is tired, he is wounded, he's frustrated with the communication breakdown that they have going on here right now and everything else. And he's just trying to bring it all together. So let's give it a shot. 15, and I got a +6 to that roll. Oh. Well, he swings his axe and, because he's a dwarf, he's short, the axe barely nicks the wood and hits the stone wall. Carnu looks over his shoulder at him and sees what he's trying to do. And at that point, he assists Rangrim, and I'm going to give him the same DC. I'm going to see if he can hit it. He pulls out a scimitar, and I'm going to see if he can try to... Actually, you know what? No. This is what he's going to do. He's going to motion to Rangrim, give me the axe, because he can't speak to him, and he's taller than him. And he grabs the axe from his hand and winds up. I'm going to give him the same 15 difficulty class, because he's just as exhausted well. And let's see how he does. He's going to get a +4 to that roll. He does it. 15, right on the money. He hits it and the wood splinters. In doing so, you can see the door at that point swings freely back and forth like that. Rangrim yells, "Yeah, again! Bust the piece off!" So let's see if he can do this again. Gets a +4. He rolls an 18. At that point, he smacks it up. A piece of this timber falls, bam, to the floor. Rangrim drops his torch and positions it to where he can still keep everything illuminated and see what the hell is going on. He grabs the door and closes it. Now, I'm going to use his stone cutting again. I want to see... No, I'm doing this wrong. I'm going to consult the oracle. I'm going to consult it. So my question is there anything in this stone wall he could use that timber? I should have asked this first, but, you know, he could use and take that timber and be able to somehow makeshift wedge this door shut to give them some security. So let's see how that's going to pan out for us. So let's go to the table. And with this, it's a stone wall. He's a dwarf. I'm going to say it's likely. And instead of unknown, I'm going to say more than likely he's going to find something. He's going to find a flaw somewhere. He rolls a 15. Yes, he does. So now there is a area that he's able to do it. Now, I'm going to give him a relatively low DC to get this a 10. I mean, that's pretty simple. With his stone cunning, it's going to get a +6. I mean, the only way he could fail this is be rolling a 1. And I hope he doesn't roll a 1. I don't want to jinx myself, but let's see what we get. He rolls a 12. Okay. He picks up the timber quickly, and looking at the door, he is able to fashion the timber through the large iron loop handle and wedge it into a crack in between the stone wall. And using what strength he has left, he goes, "Argh!" And it's at that point, he's, Carnew's, blabbering out just incomprehensible words. But he can just hear the wood splintering and cracking as the dwarf gives the last of his strength, and he is able to wedge the wood in there to prevent the door from being opened up from the outside. It's at that point that Rangram just collapses to his knees and uses his arms to pull himself up against the wall, and he's so exhausted, and he just plops up against the wall, just like that. Carnew is still speaking just random, just craziness, like fart, bubble, shit, down, but he recognizes his friend is exhausted. He reaches into his pack, grabs his water skin, and gives it to him. Lays his axe down next to Rangram, and then comes over here to Merrick, and just so exhausted himself, he just collapses and tries to haphazardly keep his friend alive as long as he can. Okay, at that, I'm going to do a short rest for these guys. These guys really, really need it. And while that is going on, meanwhile, upstairs, our evil little alkalite NPC buddy here, he is talking with a unsavory, I guess you could say, type of fellow that looks very shady. And he tells him, "Listen, this is what I need you to do. I need you to ride out at once, deliver this message, and tell your contact, tell the king that I have what he seeks, and the price of the bounties went up." He said he takes a huge hourglass, and he flips it over. He goes, "The way I look at it," he said, "for you to get to your contact from here should only take within a few grains of this sand to be able to reach him, and tell him to ride swiftly and deliver the message, and that the bounty's gone up. I now want 100 platinum for his head, if he is unwilling to pay that." He said, "Well, I guess the deal is off, and I will gladly take him and deliver him to my high priest, and allow him to use him for to sacrifice royal blood. He says, I understand, my master. And at that point, exits the tavern as he eyes this hourglass, and he chuckles to himself. He says, yes, the plan is coming together. He says, fool, he'll never see him alive again. He said, my pet must be fed, and when the hourglass runs out, I will have to let him free. He will have to eat something. He says, out of 3 of them, there must be at least one survivor that's not completely dead, but a warm carcass will work for my pet as well. Man. So, this is going on upstairs. This evil, twisted maniac is counting on at least one of them being mortally wounded to the point that, well, he could pass the body off as bounty to collect his money. And, no doubt, adding more bodies to his undead army he's trying to build down here. But I think, to his surprise, he's going to find out real fast that, well, his army's been depleted and he's going to need to add more to his ranks. So, with that being said, let's jump forward. An hour of time has passed. I'm going to roll my hit die. First one I'm going to do is for Rangrim. He's got a 6 plus his cons. Alright. Takes him up to 11 hit points, which is much better. Carnu, the same thing, a 1d8. So, let's roll that hit die. 6. Hey, I'll take it. And that'll also take him up to 11. He's almost full health. Okay, so what I'm going to do for Merrick is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to roll a Constitution save for him. And given his state, he's a -5 right now. So it's going to be a 15. He's going to have to roll a 15 or better, or he's going to lose another hit point. So I'm hoping this guy pulls through. 15 right on the nose without even adding the con bonus in it. So it's at this point that they're... How do you put this? Crude, basically, first aid, if you will, has saved his life. And even though he's unconscious and he's very, very, very wounded and pretty much spiraling to drain, he's at least not losing any more hit points. So it's at that point, these two had, without knowing, had dozed off momentarily, and they're awakened to the sound of somebody trying to get into the door. It's at this time, Rangrim, he looks over at Carnu, and Carnu as well is trying to restrain from blurting out just this absolute nonsense coming out of his mouth. And Rangrim grabs the torch that's still smoldering and burning and picks up his axe, and he says, it's time to go. He says, follow me. He says, do you have enough strength to carry Merrick? He blurts out a few words, fart, bubble, blah, 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 and grabs Merrick and slumps him up over his shoulder. He heads towards where he's seen this nasty tapestry and pulls it back. Okay. Now, this is the part of the game that's going to be interesting because I don't know what's going to be behind that tapestry. I really don't. So, I'm going to go to the Oracle. Is there an encounter behind this tapestry? 3. No. Thank God. Okay. So, I'm going to say with that, there's nothing waiting on the other side of the tapestry that wants to kill me at this point. But let me get some more tiles out here. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that there for right now. As Rangrim steps into this room and his torch lights up the area, and these two are coming in behind him, I'm going to do a perception check as the first thing. Let me do this. Is there, I should be thinking this, is there anything in this room better yet, is there a way out? I'm wondering if there's a way out back to the surface from here. And I don't know, so I'm going to have to roll on the Oracle and see. Because ideally, that's what needs to happen. I mean, we need to get out of here. We're trapped in this just ridiculous nightmare from this lunatic. 11. Yes, but there's always got to be that but. A 3. An error and an assumption some NPC is making. So, how I'm going to interpret this is the acolyte must not know about this area back here. Or he must have thought that nobody would have ever, I guess, thought to look behind the tapestry or what have you. But for whatever reason, the acolyte, once they are, man, this has to be done a different way. This has to be done very, very tactfully. So, with the acolyte trying to open up the door and realizing he cannot, he has to get help. And at that point, as these guys, I'm going to pick up on where they're at, the acolyte has gone and he has requested some brute help to get through that door. Any mini will work. I will put this mini down here, showing his brute help. And I will have this mini here representing the acolyte, or the cultist, if you will. And now, back to this area right here. I'm going to move this up so you can see what's going on here. So, the acolyte has returned with obviously somebody from up in the tavern. that knows how to handle a weapon to bust the door down for him. Meanwhile, so there is a way out of here, and it's something that the Alkalite may not even be aware of. He may be totally unaware of this area. Just depending on, if he's a fall guy put in place just to oversee this, we're going to have to see. So, using stone cunning, I'm going to see if Ragrim can find something in this room that he could, say, hey, here's a way out, follow me. So he's going to get a +6 to the roll. Now, I'm going to make this a DC. Wow, where do I want to make this? Let's take a look and see. I don't want to, obviously, I don't want a total party kill, but nothing's worse than having something real stupid and hokey in the storyline just to make things, stupid, basically. So how do I... So 10 is basically I'm going to say your midline. 15's tough. 20 is really tough. I'm going to set it at a 13 is where I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to set it at a 13. And I'm going to see if he can find something. So he's going to get a +6 to this roll. He's got an 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. It's at that point, he does see a way that they can possibly get out. And he investigates that even further. Now, I'm going to consult my core oracle again. Is this a way back to the surface? Yes, is this a way back to the surface? Let's see if it is. Rolls a 17. Yes. Oh man, thank God. Okay, so I have to see how many hours have passed here. So, given the hour that they were already down here, that they had passed out, basically, I'm going to roll a 1d4 and see how many hours they have been down here. So they've been down here for a total of 5 hours. So right about now is about afternoon. It's at that point that Rangrim is able to see between the foundation of the tavern and where the crudely made, basically, basement walls, the stone wall, if you will, he can see an area of erosion, and he is able to go up there, and he's going to use his axe to pull some of this rubble away to see if he can make an opening for them to get out of. Now, with that being said, that's going to be a strength check against mine guy here, so I'm going to make that a DC, what about 13? I'm going to keep it at a 13. I'm going to see how he does. And the strength is 4. Okay. With all my bonuses added up, he takes his axe and he clanks into and he's pulling. It's like, ah! I mean, it's stretching him, his strength all the way to everything he has. He cannot give another ounce of strength. And then finally, part of the wall lets loose and begins to crumble down. He takes another and pulls. Before he knows it, his eyes have to adjust because the sunlight comes streaming into this area and a rush of fresh air, displacing all of that smell of decay and rot from the adventurers that soon became, well, is the Acolyte's going to find out his undead army that's been destroyed. Okay, so he's found a way out. He's working on that. Things are looking up. Let's get back to the Acolyte and... Or I'm going to call him... I'm not even going to call him the Acolyte anymore. He is the cultist. He is just a sick, twisted, evil piece of trash is what he is. And now, the difficulty class for breaking down that door. Let me see. I'm going to roll a 1d10, and I'm going to add 10 to that. And a 10. Okay, so it's difficulty class of 20. Wow, that guy's going to have his work cut out for him. Now, he's going to hang around with some unsavory characters, so I just picked this NPC card for him. It's a bandit captain. He has a +2 to his strength, and he does use a scimitar. So, at this point, he's just trying to slash through this door. He's kicking it. He's doing everything he can do to get past it. And because the door is wedged shut, his first roll, he's going to have disadvantage against that. But just because he has disadvantage doesn't mean anything. So let's see how this plays out. Okay, I rolled an 18 and a 5. He's going to take the 5 plus 2 is 7. So he takes a sword and boom, a big chunk of the wood comes out. He kicks it and he can feel that there's something pretty solid. And he's like, he's looking at them. He's the cultist, and he's like, it's stuck. It's locked from the other side. And he screams at him, "Break it down, you fool! Break it down!" Now, I'm going to roll a perception check for my cultist here. And he has a wisdom of +2. Wisdom. Would wisdom be the good one to use? I'm going to go with intelligence. His intelligence, because he notices the ground that he is standing upon as he's holding his lantern feels weird. It doesn't feel flat. As a matter of fact, it feels somewhat, well, gravelly, more like loose, gravelly than normal. So, with that in mind, I'm going to roll a 20. I'm going to give him a DC 10, which is going to be very simple for him. If he rolls a 16, doesn't even need the bonus. As he's trying to break down the door, he angles his lantern to look at the floor to see what he's standing on, and it is at that point that he can see the remains of his undead army broken in pieces at his feet. He is filled with rage and screams at the bandit here, "Faster! Faster, you fool! Otherwise you're going to be the next one in my undead army. I promise you, you will not make it out of here alive if you don't hasten it, you fool!" Okay. Now, this is cool. How I want to see, how is this bandit captain going to react to this cultist demanding he basically break the door down faster, otherwise he's going to kill him. Considering he can't break the door down himself, I'm going to go to the Oracle for this. And, I'm not. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the reactions of my NPCs in my Oracle book here, if you will. I would say he's kind of a unfriendly NPC. So let's see how he reacts to this. Rolling 2d6. Ooh. Wow. So he stops and he looks at him and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll get the door broken down. You just better have the money for me, because if not," he said, "my blade can cut through you just as easily as it can cut through this door. Don't forget that, my friend." He says, "Now, stand aside. I wouldn't want to see you get hurt." He swings up the sword and goes to swing to take another swing. And he's going to do it normal this time without disadvantage. And let's see what he gets. It's a DC 20. He has a +2. 20. Okay. It's at that point that he is able to actually breach through the door. It splinters and flies out into the room. Now, while that is going on, I'm going to go back to them. In order to climb out, I'm going to, just to keep this fair, I'm going to roll a 10-sider here. And I rolled a 2. Adding 10, it's going to be a 12. It's going to be a DC 12 for him to be able to crawl up and out and then help them, because he's going to have to help with Merrick and then help with Carnu to get him out as well. That's going to be against dexterity, which I don't think is going to really have too big of a problem, because he's, for a dwarf, he's pretty dexterous. So let's see how this all works out. He is going to get, I'm going to add his proficiency with his dex, which is going to give him a +5 to this roll. Let's see how he does. A 20. He nails it. He just takes his axe and he BAM! Right into a solid piece of wall that's left, pulls himself up out into the fresh air. He turns. At that point, Carnu is, with all his strength, lifting his halfling buddy up. He's like, "Argh." So, I think I'm going to add a bit of a twist to that. Everything seems to be going good. I want to see, he should have the strength to lift him. And maintain it. Let's see if he can do that. Ooh, 17. Okay. So, with Carnu, he has a strength of 2, and I'll give him his proficiency, which will give him a 4. So let's see if he can pull this off. Okay. So, as he's trying to hold up Merrick with all his strength, and he's everything above his head and to where Ragrim can reach him. Just at that spur of the moment, as the weight of Merrick's unconscious body shifts, Carnu has to readjust and catch his friend so without further harm. It's at that point that the door is fully busted wide open, and the NPCs enter the room. Now, I want to see the reaction of the cultist here. And so first things first. I'm going to have to ask the Oracle this. And I say Oracle because I'm referring to my my table here out of Scarlet Heroes. And that is, does the cultist know about this? I mean, with the rolls before, he overlooked it. He may not know about it. But now that he's in this room, does he notice anything out of the ordinary that would give him a clue as to where they may have gone? That's what I have to know. That's the question right now. So let's see. Let's roll on that. They rolled an 11. Yes, but. There is a but. And what is that? To his surprise, as they enter the room with the lantern and they're looking around, he's just like, huh, he can't believe it. It's empty. There's nothing here. The skeletons are gone. The only thing that's left is just a faint odor of the nasty smell of rotted human flesh. Because of this gaping hole that Rangrim created to the outside, as the wind comes in from the outside and the tapestry moves slowly at that point, causing his lantern flame to also flicker against it. The cultist looks at it and he looks over at the bandit NPC standing next to him and motions to him, you first. Okay. Now, I want to give him another roll to see if he can get Merrick out of harm's way before stuff gets really, really bad. So, let's go back to that. It's a 17. Come on, I know you can do this. Okay, so he's going to have 2 plus 4 to that. No. He tries again to lift Merrick, and he's like a limp noodle, basically. He's unconscious as he's trying to lift up the mass of his body to where Rangrim can actually, in his little dwarf arms, can grab him to pull him out. He just keeps flopping and throwing Carnu off. At that moment, the bandit moves up to the tapestry and he pulls it aside. He can see what's happening and screams out. Let's go to the chart and see how he reacts to this unfriendly NPC. He pulls back the tapestry. He sees what's going on, and he can see that he's trying to get his wounded or dead friend out of there. It's at that point he turns back and he looks at the cultist. And he says, the price has just gone up. He said, if you want me to go any further, I broke down your door. He says, it's going to be 200 gold. I want to see how the cultist reacts to this. This ought to be interesting. 3. The cultist erupts into a fury of anger, and he's like, I absolutely refuse. You will obey me. If you do not, I will kill you. I don't think it's going to sit well. I really don't. I want to consult the Oracle on this. Is this bandit NPC, where we want to know this question? This is the question that is lingering. Is he going to kill this cultist? Has he just had it? It's just like, this is the last straw. He's been listening to all these insults. This guy is just a twisted freak. And at this point, he's refusing to give him more money to basically be his, well, let's face it, his little underling. Go and do as I say, or else. Alright, my friends, let's let the die decide. So, will he kill the occultist? No, but there's always a but with this chart. As the... Okay, so it's a sublimely bad or good timing by a sudden event. I think I know how I want to interpret this. And I have to see, because it... Okay. Now, as the cultist is approaching the NPC, he goes to put his sword away. As he draws to sheath his sword, he takes his elbow, and I'm going to have to roll for AC here. And he's going to get... I'm going to say a +2. No, actually a +3. I'm going to use his dex. And I don't think he has... No, he doesn't have any proficiency bonuses, so we'll say a +3. Okay. As he goes to sheath it, he elbows the cultist in the gut. And he heaves over. And as he sheathes his sword, he turns around and he says, "If you don't want to pay me," he says, "I refuse to fight for you, especially against a drow." He says, "No money, no further." He goes, "I'll take my payment now, or I'll take your head." Now, with that going on, Rangrim is leaning on this wall. He's trying to... I want to see, at this point, this is what I want to know. Because a sublimely bad or good timing by a sudden event. Does this wall crumple and the hole open up to where it's going to make it easier for them to get out? Let's find that out. And I'm going to roll my percentage die for this. So, if there's a high probability of this wall crumbling, the higher the number, the higher the probability. Let's see. 40%. No. No, it does not. So, that's not that good of a thing. But let me roll again on the strength table for him. I mean, the strength DC to see if he's able to get Merrick out this time. Remember, DC 17. No, he's still unable to at that point. I know what I'm going to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do at this point. I'm going to go back to the NPCs. Let me see how the cultist is going to react to this. So, the friendly NPC, how will he react to being told, "Give me the money or I'll just take your head"? He looks up at him and with his eyes glaring, he says, "Absolutely not." He says, "I will not pay you one single dime." He can hear what's going on in the through this hole in the wall. Quickly at that point, even though he cannot communicate, but this is what he's going to do. Anger boiling up inside of him. Carnu motions to Rangrim. Both hands up like, hold on, hold on. Drawing a scimitar, he turns and he moves. Casting the tarp aside. startling him and him as well as he looks up at the corner of his eye like, oh no. He's holding some gold coins in his hand that he took out of his pouch. And he's just just babble is coming out of his mouth, and anger and fear. And he holds the gold scimitar in one hand, gold like this, pointing towards the bandit. I want to see if the bandit understands what he's asking him. I'm going to roll on the table. He says, the drow has gold, but you have no gold for me. He looks at him and he goes, so, whatever you are trying to say, you pay me to kill him? He, at that point, shakes his head no. He takes his scimitar, and he is kneeling, because he has just been clubbed. Not clubbed, but elbowed in the abdomen. And he's kneeled over, and he's clenching his abdomen. I'm going to give him, at this point, yeah, he's going to have advantage on this. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. With his scimitar drawn, he's going to get a +2 for proficiency, and a 4. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the cultist only has an AC of 10. Yeah. He brings the scimitar down quickly and swiftly and across his neck. His head literally just, at that point, hinges backwards. Blood begins to squirt and his body falls backwards and begins to shake uncontrollably. As his scimitar he's holding is dripping with the cultist's blood and his hand is shaking. I want to see how this dude is reacting to this. NP, at this point, I don't think he's going to be unfriendly. He's going to be just a stranger to him at this point. He just watched this drow decapitate this guy. Tentative agreement. Okay, so he looks at him and he's just like, whoa, 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 whoa. He's got his hands out, like showing him, like, no, I don't want to fight you. And he drops the gold into his hand, and then he's pulling his hand towards him, like, to follow me. It's at that point that the bandit walks into the room. He sees what's going on, and he can see his wounded friend. I want to see if he's a bigger guy than him. And I'm going to say his DC for this is going to be... Actually, let's do this to fairway. Let's drop a 10-sider and see. 19. Oh my god. And his strength bonus. 18. Hey, alright. I got it. Right on the money. Rolled a 17. He's got a +2 to his strength bonus. He looks down at his buddy and he looks up at Ragrim. And he grabs Merrick up and he's... And with all his strength, he's able to push Merrick up in above his head. Ragrim grabs him and pulls Merrick out into the sunlight. At that point, Carnu pulls his hood up tight over his face and pulls himself up onto the wall, grasping, and he feels Ragnar's hand grab his other hand as he pulls him, and he can feel Ragnar's, his dwarven strength literally pulling him up and out into the blinding sunlight. Carnu looks back and he tries to say thank you to this guy, but the only thing that comes out of his mouth is fart smeedle black and blah blah, the elephant blah blah blah. Something of that line. And the NPC is sitting there looking at him all confused, like, what? Alright, so outside the tavern. We are outside the tavern at this point. I'm going to end it off right there, and this is gonna have to pick up on the outside of the tavern because the dynamics are gonna have to change. It's daylight, there's a lot of things going on, and welp, we're gonna have to see where that takes us. Alright, my friends, this is awesome. I'm loving it.